It was a pitch black room. There were no windows, and by the light from the weak bulb, one could only just barely make out the state of things around them. It appeared to be an old, forgotten, dusty underground storehouse, with some kind of furniture haphazardly thrown into it. However, even with just a little light, one could at least tell that it probably wasn't a storehouse, because that room was sealed off with iron bars.
ここはどこなの?
わからん。ここは屋敷の地下なのか。
I was about to ask if there was a dungeon underneath the mansion, but this is Kinzo we're talking about, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a dungeon underneath the mansion.
食堂の真下にこんな部屋があったのか。
They had been dropped into what had appeared to be a pit and fallen into this room. Therefore, it would be appropriate to think that this room was directly below the dining hall. Hell's halls. However, not even Klaus could bring himself to believe that there were pitfalls rigged in the beloved dining hall, where he had enjoyed his meals for years. And that directly below it was this dungeon-like room. But the ceiling, when they looked up, was made of rugged stone. And they could not understand from where in that ceiling they could have fallen. No, all 5 people who had been dropped here thought the same thing, although they had felt a sensation of being dropped into a pit. There was no way there could be pitfalls in the dining room, nor could this dungeon-like place be directly underneath it. But, in point of fact, they had fallen into this place and were locked in. And so, they were confused.
あの高さから落ちて誰も怪我をしなかったのは幸運かもしれませんな。シャノン、カノン、君たちはこんな部屋の存在を知っていたかね。
いいえ、僕たちもこのような部屋のことは存じかねます。
本当に？
本当です。本当にこの部屋知りません。
It seemed that Kyrie thought there was a good chance that, despite their age, they might know of the mansion's secret tricks as servants permitted the one-winged eagle. There was a long silence, as if evaluating their answer.
いや、シャノンたちが知らないのは事実だろう。
Maybe this place doesn't actually exist, and Kinzo Gap transported them into another universe. Huh. This is weird.
何しろ、綺麗好きのシャノンだ。彼女がこの部屋を知っていたなら、もっとピカピカに磨き上げているだろう。この部屋の汚さが、君たちがこの部屋を知らないことの証だ。今はそんなことより、これからどうするかの方が先決だと思わんかね。その通りです。警察に、いえ、それから救急にも早く電話をしなければ。
Nanjo's words rang hollow. Obviously, 6 people had been killed in the dining hall. They had all witnessed the exact moments when the 6 had been killed. And what's more, it had been done by half destroying their heads. Anyone could tell with just a single glance that they had been dealt a fatal injury. Everyone understood that calling for an ambulance now would be completely meaningless.
ありがとう、南條先生。私たちは 伴侶がもう生きてはいないことを理解できてる。気休めでも救急と言い添えてくれてありがとう。
夏希。
Once again, an oppressive silence took control of them. But Klaus shook his head harshly over and over, and decided just for now to forget the pain of losing his wife, and dedicate himself to figuring out where they were.
みんな聞きたまえ。親父はもうダメだ。口で言って理解や説明が求められる段階にもうない。
Saying the slight obvious, man. Nobody answered. Without any kind of discussion or mercy, 6 people had been killed in an instant. And Kinzo had so boldly proclaimed for them to become sacrifices in a 13-person murder ritual. Wait, has the character sheet been updated? No, not yet. The character sheet has not been updated. Alright. Since they had been locked up in this place, they too would probably become the ritual's next sacrifices before long. Around this time, their eyes were becoming used to the darkness. And bit by bit, they were starting to be able to make out the dungeon's interior. What they thought was furniture haphazardly left in the dungeon turned out not to be furniture at all. They were small cages that used to imprison a single that could be used. I'm sorry. Small cages that could be used to imprison a single person. Restraining tables? Or were those torture racks? At any rate, it was obviously more ghastly than a mere jail cell, since those objects were rusted and covered in thick layers of dust. There was no doubt that they had been long forgotten. Maybe you could even have called those things Kinzo's sealed and forgotten madness. However, it was this room in which they had now been locked away. Those objects weren't exactly comforting to people who were locked up, hoping to be released without harm.
とにかくここを抜け出そう。私たちは伴侶や友人を失い、涙を流すことに時間を費やしたいが、今はそれ以上に子供たちの身が心配だ。
お子様方はご無事でしょうか。
祈るしかない。そういえば熊沢さんと郷田さんはここにはいないな。
ひょっとすると無事に逃げ延びられたのかも。
かもしれませんな。子供たちと合流しててくれれば心強いのですが。
郷田さんはいざという時頼りになるし、熊沢さんは経験豊富で落ち着いてるし、きっと力になってくれると思います。
そうだといいがな。
Shanon and Klaus smiled bitterly a little, but they quickly realized how improper that was, and stopped, clearing their throats.
楽観はできないよ、姉さん。僕らに続いてもう襲われてしまってる可能性だってある。
同感ね。お父様が食堂で執行したのは魔女の碑文の第1の番の6人殺しなんでしょ。なら第2の番は寄り添いし2人を引き裂け。
Huh. I mean, there are still various groups of people who are close still. There are various groups that are still alive, but this is actually an interesting twilight in my opinion, because the two that are close, I mean, there's Jessica and Kanon, but that's already been done, so I don't think there will be a repeat. There's George and Shanon, but other than that, is anyone else really that close? Like, Battler and Kyrie, but I don't think Battler's gonna get killed in Second Twilight, so, Very interesting. Very interesting.
逃げ隠れて寄り添っている郷田さんと熊沢さんがもう殺されている可能性だって否定できないわ。
I mean, that's a way to interpret that, but I don't think that's going to be the answer. Because, okay, first game, it was Hideyoshi and Ava. Second game, it was Jessica and Kanon. And in third game, it was Rosa and Maria. I don't think the pattern's going to be different. Unless, Goda and Kumasawa happen... I would think we would get some, insight into that sort of storyline if that was going on.
きっとゲストハウスに合流してて、子供たちを守ってくれているなんて楽観。現時点では全くできないわよ。
Kyrie coldly analyzed the worst-case scenario. Even for her, it was heartbreaking to have lost her beloved husband. But right now, the most important thing was protecting that husband's son, along with the other children, from becoming sacrifices to the insane family head. She overcame her sadness with the parental urge to protect the children. It seemed that both Kyrie and Klaus were strong enough to forget their grief, if only for the time being. They could let their tears flow later. For now, in order to protect the children, they had to act.
とにかくここを脱出しよう。相当古い牢屋のようだ。なんとか鉄格子を破れないだろうか。室内をくまなく探して脱出手段を探してみよ
う。ここにはガラクタがいろいろあるわ。何か役に立ちそうな道具とか落ちてないかしら。武器になるものがあるかもしれないし、鉄格子を破れるものがあるかもしれない。
Kyrie pulled a lighter from her pocket. She herself didn't smoke, but she kept one tucked away in her pocket to light Rudolph's cigarettes. It was an extremely valuable source of light for searching through this dim dungeon.
シャノンはキリエさんを手伝い、室内を探索してくれ。カノンは私と一緒に鉄格子の具合を確かめてみよう。これだけ古い牢屋だ。ひょっとするとガタが来ているかもしれない。
And Najo, you do what you do best. Absolutely nothing.
私は何をお手伝いしましょうかな。
体力を温存していてください。やがてここに親父殿が現れるだろう。親父殿に言葉が届くのは南條先生だけです。ある意味南條先生に我々の命は握られているかもしれない。
Okay, that's actually... Yeah, okay, no, what I said right there was absolutely wrong. Nacho is very important in this episode because he's the only one that could probably talk to Kinzo about stuff. Like, in a sense, I think Nacho did spare the children's lives by talking with Kinzo about them, about grandchildren. I think Nacho had saved the kids' lives at the very least by what he said to Kinzo. So no, I was absolutely wrong when I said that Nacho only does absolutely nothing because he does some stuff. He does some stuff. Not a lot compared to the other characters, but he does do some stuff, so he gets a small hand. Just waiting for the rich reveal.
私の言葉などもう届きはせんでしょう。申し訳ないが、そのお役には立てそうにない。
なら南條先生のお医者としての知識を貸してください。人間を即座に混沌させるような毒って存在するのかしら。
人間を即座に混沌させる毒？どういうことですか？
私たちは落とし穴に落とされてこの地下牢に落ちてきたと信じている。あの混乱している場で私たちはそうだったろうと信じたわ。でもこの地下牢の広さを測ってみて分かった。この地下牢が あの食堂の地下というのはありえないことなのよ。
どうしてありえないってわかるんですか？
姉さんはバカだな。この地下牢は食堂に比べて狭すぎる。
その通り。1番目に落とされたのはクラウス兄さん、2番目が私。クラウス兄さんはこの部屋に落ちてきた時、その場を動いたかしら。
お恥ずかしながら落下の痛みでうめいていたよ。そのすぐ傍らにキリエさんがすぐに落ちてきたんだ。
食堂でのクラウス兄さんと私の立ち位置と落下時の落下場所の距離が明らかにおかしいのよ。
確かに言われてみればその通りです。その次に落ちたのは私だから、お二人の位置関係はよく覚えている。食堂でのお二人の間の距離はこの部屋よりもあったかもしれない。
私たちは落とし穴に落ちてダイレクトにここに落下したわ。集合する下水道管みたいに一度集められてからここに落ちたわけじゃない。落下は一瞬だったでしょ。そんな凝った排水管みたいな穴を転がされた覚えはないわ。
確かに落とし穴では説明がつかんな。おかしな話だ。
You know, with all this, there's nothing really you can explain from the human end to explain this part. Yeah, no, there's no way you can probably explain this. Is there? Kyrie, please help. I can't think of anything. I'm just gonna let you talk because I tried helping you, but there's no way I can think of a solution to this.
それとキリエ様のおっしゃる人間を即座に混沌させる毒というのはどう関係があるんですか？
キリエ様は多分食堂に落とし穴なんかなかったとお考えなんじゃないかな。
しかし現に私たちは落ちたぞ。
落とし穴に落ちたような気がするが正解よ。無理もないわ。そうとしか例えられない体験だったから。
なるほど。つまりこうおっしゃいたいわけですな。私たちは落とし穴に落とされたのではなく、例えば毒矢のようなもので撃たれ瞬時に意識を失い、その倒れて床に突っ伏す瞬間の記憶をまるで落とし穴に落ちたよと思い込んでしまっているのかもしれないと。
That's stretching it, but maybe that could be a plausible answer for a human explanation?
なるほど。食堂に無数の落とし穴が仕掛けられていて、我々がそれに何十年も気づかず食事をしていたとするよりは、よほど説得力のある話だ。
Honestly, I'm not even trying to bring up human explanations at this point. I think I'm just gonna accept magic for this part.
姉さん、時計はある？
うん。懐中時計があるわよ。22時40分くらいね。
22:40. Yeah.
僕の時計もそうなってる。
Wait, does the time sync up? Oh my god, it does sync up! It syncs up!
つまり僕たちは食堂での大騒ぎから十数分も時間を経過させてないってことになる。
私の時計も同様だ。我々が混沌させられてどこかへ担ぎ込まれたと仮定するには時間の経過が短すぎる。時間だけを見るならやはり我々は食堂の真下へ落とし穴で落とされたと考えるのが妥当だ。
時計の針なんていくらでもいじれるわ。 私たちが気絶している間に全員の時計を巻き戻したのかもしれない。その可能性がなかったことは証明不能よ。
落とし穴にせよ、混沌させる毒にせよ、私たちは用心するに越したことはないというわけですな。
それで南條先生、混沌させる毒は存在するんですか？
それは、キリエさんの論法と同じですな。私の知らない未知の毒物にそういう効用のものがないとは証明できません。
用心に越したことはないということね。ごめんなさい、無駄な質問だったわ。ただ私の仮説により、この地下牢が食堂の真下とは限らないという可能性は示唆できたと思
う。なるほど。広大な森の中のどこかに隠されていると噂される親父殿の隠し屋敷の地下牢に運び込まれている可能性もあるということか。ここを脱出して外へ出ればそれもわかる。それを詮索するのはここから出てからでもいいだろう
な。その通りね。本当にごめんなさい。さっきから無駄な質問と詮索ばかりだわ。
いや、とても頼もしいよ。今後も何かに気づいたら教えてくれたまえ。ここを脱出する何かのヒントになるかもしれない。ルドルフからいつも聞かされていたよ。君の発想にはいつも驚かされ、時には重要なヒントにもなるとね。君がここにいてくれたのは不幸中の幸いだ。
ありがとう。私もルドルフさんに聞いてるわ。クラウス兄さんは普段は威張っているけれど、いざという時は責任感にあふれる頼りがいのある兄だって。
Coming from how they interacted with each other a few chapters ago, I'm surprised by, just them complimenting each other at this point. They're acting really friendly towards each other despite the previous chapters.
さすがにそれは世辞が過ぎるね。くそ。それにしても頑丈な鉄格子だ。カノンの方はどうかね。
いえ、こちらも全く。
Klaus and Kanon tried wiggling each of the bars in various ways. There were a few bars that could be twisted, and a few felt like they had enough room to rattle around a little bit. But even so, they could not be broken with human strength alone. However, there was still hope if they could use some kind of lever-like tool. It was still far too early to give up just yet. The children's lives were hanging in the balance. Even if there was no hope, they couldn't stop their struggle. And it was better even for them to act this way. If they were to stop, there was no doubt that they once again be overcome by the grief of losing their loved ones and crouch down, clutching their knees.
キリエさんたちの方はどうかね。何か見つかったかね。
握って隠せる程度の石ころは見つかるわ。こんなものでも武器にはなるかも。さすがに鉄格子を削り取ることは無理でしょうね。シャノンちゃんはどう？
いいえ、何も。あ、これ電話です。
Hold on. Oh, I can't remove the text screen, but hold on. There's a shelf behind her and a chair. Couldn't they use the shelf and chair? Or the vase or the books on that shelf? Couldn't they use those as weapons?
つながってるわけもないわ。でも コードは何かを縛ったり武器にも使えるかも。壊して分解すれば金属部品を取り出せるわ。クラウス兄さん、鉄格子を開ける鍵穴はもちろんあるわよね。
ああ、だいぶ鍵穴の大きい大時代的なものだがね。針金のようなものでいじれば騙せるかもしれないな。
電話の金属部品で何か代用できるかもしれない。その電話、武器になるわね。
投資と同じだよ。情報は武器だ。
Klaus and Kyrie laughed together at this way of putting the phone to use, which didn't remotely look at it as a means of communication.
何やってんの、姉さん。
その電話つながってるかなって思って。
バカだな、姉さんは。
あれ？
No way, the phone works. Suddenly, Shanon let out a small surprised cry.
キリエ様？
Rhythm changer, the phone works! The phone works!
この電話つながってます。
なんですって？
It was like when people move out of an office, taking everything with them, leaving only the telephone behind. That's the feeling the phone gave off, having been left in the corner of the cell. The cord was wound into a coil, one end of it being swallowed by the wall. And at a glance, it looked as if it could possibly be connected. But to think that it actually was. Kyrie took the receiver from Shanon and pressed it to her ear. The electric hum was certainly the one with which she was familiar. This phone was indeed live.
なんという幸運。警察へ連絡しましょう。
But wait, hold on. Something doesn't add up here though. Usually, aren't the phone lines disconnected during the time of the Rokonjima massacre? No one's cut the phone lines yet. The phone lines have not been cut yet. Interesting.
待ちたまえ。話がうますぎる。盗聴されているんじゃないのかね。
そんな細工するくらいなら普通は電話線を切断するわ。連中が本気で見落とした可能性が高い。気づかれたら今度こそ電話線を切断されるかもしれないわ。警察への通報を盗聴されて何も困ることはないのだし。
That did make sense. The point of a wiretap was to overhear some important piece of information. But the way things were now, they could not think of a single thing that would come up in a conversation to the outside world that could be troublesome to have been heard. Kyrie instantly concluded that was more likely to be a mistake on Kinzo's part than a trap.
確かに一理あります。外線は確か0番からだ。
カノン君、私は電話するからあなたは外の様子を伺ってくれる？誰かが近づいてくる気配があったら知らせて。
はい。
Kanon raced off towards the iron bars, silenced his breathing, and strained his ears. As everyone present watched her, Kyrie dialed 110. 110, the police. However, she pushed the hook down repeatedly and redialed. It didn't seem to be working very well.
外線は0番から110番は0110じゃないの？うまくかからない。
貸したまえ。私がかけよう。
Klaus took the receiver in Kyrie's place and tested various things. But in the end, they were unable to notify the police. The phone itself was definitely live, but the circuit was apparently cut somewhere. Did this mean that they were not so naive?
やっぱり無理ですか。
敵も甘くはないってことね。
Kyrie let out a deep sigh, leaned against the wall, and hung her head for a while. As tough a girl as she was. As tough as a girl she was. As tough a girl as she was, there we go. For a brief moment, she might actually have had the naive hope that the phone could actually work. She sneered at herself mockingly for holding on to that naive hope for even one moment. And then, she thought back upon just what was happening here. Honestly, despite having been shown such a thing right before her eyes, or rather, exactly because of that, she still could not think of that gruesome mass murder as something real. It was less that she couldn't believe it, and more that she didn't want to. Stupefaction. God! God! I was kind of leaning into the screen because I was messing up reading. And, why? Why was I not looking down at the text box? Why was I looking up? Oh God, when I closed my eyes, all I could see is Kinzo! Ushirimiya Kinzo had killed 6 members of his family. He had summoned strange, witch-like, demon-like people right out of thin air. And with something like magic, he had begun to kill people one after another. Too much to handle. Even though she definitely saw it, there was no way she could accept that spectacle.
そんなことあるわけがない。あれはきっとお父様の友人か何か。それがあらかじめ食堂のどこかに隠れていて、手品的に突然姿を現して私たちを驚かせただけなんだわ。そう考えなくちゃあのめちゃくちゃを説明できない。
Whoa. But when those 6 had their heads blown apart, a golden arrow had flown around and around in the room. That had truly looked like magic. Was that another thing we just saw wrong? There's no way it was magic. There must be some kind of trick to it. Since it was capable of smashing heads, there's no doubt it was some explosive. For example, styrene toy plane like they sell at candy stores, painted gold. Styrene toy plane? Oh. Wait, how could that blow a part of someone's head off? No, wait, that's polystyrene. Hold on, no, I want regular styrene. Polystyrene... What? I'm only seeing polystyrene. I don't think those can go fast enough to blow off someone's head, though. And with a powerful explosive loaded onto the end of it. That said, at a glance, it had seemed to be flying at random. Kyrie couldn't imagine that such a thing could be fired 6 times, and each time perfectly hit the victim square in the head, one after the other. Surely, its flight wasn't computer controlled to seek out and deliver precise hits on its targets, which would make it a high-tech styrene plane on the same level as a guided missile?
そんなバカバカしい仕掛けを膨大な私費を投じて作らせたと。
Yes.
あのおかしな余興のためにお父様ならやりかねないって。
A number of mysterious people had suddenly appeared out of thin air. 6 people had had their heads demolished by a mysterious golden flying object. And the 5 of us were locked away in a mysterious dungeon by a mysterious set of pitfalls. Or else put to sleep by some fainting poison dart? The family conference started a bit after 10 p.m. It's only been about 30 minutes since then. Probably. those events, which took place in such a short amount of time, none of us are able to understand, nor come to grips with, even though we witnessed them ourselves. Even if we did get a hold of the police, it would probably be impossible for any of us to accurately explain what we saw. I may only have just witnessed it, but my brain's fried, and I have no confidence even in what I myself saw. Kyrie had to try her hardest to rouse herself from her overwhelming confusion just to hold on to her sanity.
くそ、どうなってるんだ。くそ、くそ。
Klaus started to become desperate, hitting the hook multiple times and redialing over and over. He too was finding composure, but was unable to hide his panic. The more he redialed, the more the pretense of serenity peeled away. None of this makes any sense. Kyrie couldn't help but pray that the events that had just occurred were no more than a dream. Suddenly, the look on Klaus's face changed.
呼び出してる。呼び出してるぞ。
Rhythm changer!
コール音がする。
本当ですか、クラウスさん。
なるほどな。親父め、浅はかな。警察に連絡されまいと外部への電話線は切断したらしいが、内線が切断し損ねている。
Holy shit! Wait, does that mean he called the guest house?
内線？クラウスさんはどこにかけているの？
He called the guest house! Oh my god, I actually did not think of that.
ゲストハウスだ。ジェシカたちの部屋の内線番号を
I knew
か
it!
けている。
Holy shit! I was not expecting him to do that. And I was not expecting for that to work.
もしもし、もしもし、私だ。お前は誰か。ゴーダか。ジェシカはいるか。無事か。
旦那様、ご無事でよかった。はい、ジェシカお嬢様たちも皆さんご無事です。
父さんなの？無事でよかった。母さんは無事なの？そこにいるの
Klaus choked on his words. Klaus had clearly seen Natsumi's head crushed, had seen her killed right before his eyes. Eventually, he was going to have to tell that to Jessica. However, Klaus began to fret over whether he should tell her this very moment, and lost his words. But even that was an answer under these circumstances.
母さんはわからない。
Don't lie.
無事を祈ろう。今はお前だけでも無事でよかった。
Yeah, I think it's very obvious that Jessica had figured out what happened to her mom. I mean, it does make sense that Klaus would not straight up say, your mother is dead, Jessica. But man, it just hurts. It just hurts. Jessica's voice was filled with tears. There was no doubt for Klaus anymore. Jessica and the others had been told everything, start to finish, by Goda and Kumasawa when they had met up at the guest house. After they learned that 6 whole people had been killed, Jessica and the others must have been in a frenzy about wanting to go to the dining hall. Luckily, he had been able to call before they stormed off towards the mansion. Klaus was relieved at his good timing during such tragedy.
ここには今、キリエさんと南條先生、それにシャノンとカノンがいる。地下牢のようなところに閉じ込められているが心配するな。こっちは父さんたちで何とかする。
どこ？助けに行く。
あいにく私たちにもここがどこだか見当もつかん。食堂の真下だと思っているが そうでないかもしれない。とにかくジェシカ、そこを出てはならん。ゴーダたちから経緯は聞いているか？
小さなみんな
おじい様は今正常な状態にない。出くわせば危険だ。殺されるかもしれない。私たちを助けに来ようなどと絶対に思ってはならんぞ。こっちはこっちで何とかする。
じゃあ私たちはどうすればいいの？小さなめ、よくも母さんたちをあの死に損ないぶっ殺してやる。
ジェシカ、そんな言葉を使ったら母さんが悲しむぞ。レディーはそんな言葉を使うもんじゃない。とにかくお前たちは身の安全を最優先にしろ。ゲストハウスを戸締まりするんだ。しかし過信はできない。1階のラウンジの大窓は破られるかもしれない。その部屋にとどまりベッドを立てかけてバリケードにするんだ。その部屋にはトイレも冷蔵庫もあるな。明日の朝までは籠城できるはずだ。いいな。くれぐれも物騒なことは考えるな。母さんの仇を取ろうなんて絶対に考えるんじゃないぞ。相手を刺激せず隠れてやり過ごすことだけを考えるんだ。
分かったよ、父さん。
After that, Goda took the phone and was told again to watch over the children as a responsible adult. Goda repeatedly replied, "Yes, sir," in an overstrained voice, his face covered in cold sweat. From there, Kyrie received the phone and spoke with Valor, and when Shanon and Kanon got their turn, George and Jessica answered. And following that, Nanjo and Kumasawa picked up as well, so that all members of both sides had their turn on the phone. At least Nanjo and Kumasawa were able to chat, each encouraging the other and confirming that they were at least safe for now, even if their location was unknown. Wait, what about Maria? Is anyone gonna say anything to Maria? I love it when the text box gets bigger. I love it when the text box gets bigger like that. Oh no, I lost my place. Even if their location was unknown, and coming to a complete understanding of the current situation for both sides, they wanted to talk forever, but now was not the time to chat. Klaus told them that they would be hanging out for now, and those in the guest house agreed.
すぐに状況を取れるように待機していてくれ。くれぐれも用心してな。無茶なことは絶対にするんじゃないぞ。
分かったよ。父さんやカノン君たちが無事だっただけでも儲けもんってやつさ。私たちも頑張る。父さんたちもどうか無事で。
ああ、もちろんだ。それでは一度切る。用心しろ。
With that, the phone call then ended. Mine. Goda and the rest of the men quickly descended the stairs, closed the shutters, and secured the strong locks on the doors. However, just as Klaus had worried, there was nothing that could be done about the beautiful wide window in the downstairs lounge. If this were to be broken, it would be easy for them to get inside. It wouldn't be hard for someone like Kinzo, who hadn't hesitated at committing murder, to invade the first floor.
おじいさまたちは武装している可能性が高い。部屋に閉じこもるのが最善かつ 唯一の籠城方法になるね。自ら密室に閉じこもらざるを得ないのは苦しいところだけど、相手が銃を持っていたらそれしか方法がない。
親方様は実銃のコレクションをお持ちとの話です。そう、あれは銃だったんだ。だとしたら恐ろしい威力の銃だ。とても太刀打ちはできません。
頭を砕くなんてすげえ威力だぜ。マグナム弾とかそういう類のやつかもな。
Magnum bullet. Huh.
下手な扉なら平気で貫通するかもしれねえな。
Wait. I feel like an idiot right now, but what's a magnum bullet? Oh, it's a type of gun. Oh, it's a type of gun bullet. I don't know a single thing about guns.
だとすれば、ますますに部屋に籠城するべきだね。ベッドを立てかけて窓も塞ごう。そこまですればいくら銃を持っていても踏み込むことはできないはず。
くそ、そんな受け身な防戦一方しかねえのかよ。ちくしょう、うちの親父に上等を決めてくれてキリエさんまで捕まえたなんて、こいつは高くつくぞ。クソじじいめ。
無理です。あんな連中に太刀打ちできるわけがありません。しかも親方様だけでなく手下も何人も。あるいはあんな連中がもっといるかも。あいつらは一体何なんだ。
Fowler was filled to the brim with the urge to get revenge for Rudolph, and to rush out of here to save Kyrie. But, just by looking at how terrified Goda was, there was no doubt in him that this would be reckless.
兄貴だって悔しいだろ。なのにここで籠城なんて。ちくしょ
う。もちろんさ、僕だって悔しいよ。両親を殺されて冷静でいられるわけがない。でもだからこそ冷静にならなくちゃいけない。僕たちが無駄に命を落とすようなことを殺された親たちが望むと思うかい？思うわけがない。せめて子供だけは逃げ延びてほしいと願ってるはずだ。だから僕は生き残るよ。そして警察に通報し、全てを暴く。仇は法廷が取る。それが僕の復讐だ。差し違えてでも仇を取ってほしいなんて親たちが望んでいるわけもない。そうだろう。
そうだな、兄貴の言う通りだぜ。ちくしょう、クソじじいめ。何が儀式だ。俺たちがそのための生贄だって言うなら意地でも逃げ切ってその儀式を台無しにしてやるぜ。
You know, this is a silly question. But I know there's a storm going on outside, but I'm surprised that no one has ever thought about, just leaving Rokenjima and risking the ocean. Well, okay, risking the ocean does sound like a bad idea. No, okay, that is a really horrible question. Why would they even try risking the ocean during a storm? Sorry for the question. That was a stupid question. Yeah, no, there's no way they could escape the island, so they have to stay cooped up in the mansion because risking the ocean is a terrible idea. You don't fuck with the ocean.
それでいいよ。それにバトラ君にはまだキリエさんがいる。僕にだってシャノンがいる。とにかく慎重に行動してチャンスを待とう。僕たちの不用意な行動は囚われの彼らに不利益を与える可能性だってあるんだから。
人質か。でもじい様はきっと キリエさんたちを生贄にするために捕らえたわけだろ。俺たちが助けなきゃ殺されるのを待つだけじゃないのか。
彼らが捕らえられている地下牢がどこにあるかもわからない。シャノンもカノン君も、もちろんゴーダさんも熊沢さんも知らなかった。おじい様だけしか知らない秘密の場所にある可能性が極めて高い。そんな状況下でうろうろと歩き回るのは自殺行為だよ。
分かってるよ。それでもくそ、俺たちはここで何かが起こるまで引きこもってるしかねえってのかよ。
マトラ様のお気持ちは分かりますが、ここは安全第一で参りましょう。旦那様の話では相当古い牢屋らしいので、なんとか鉄格子を破れるかもしれないとのことでした。今は信じて待つ方が賢明です。
おじい様の手下が何人もいて、みんな武装しているんだよね。
ええ、そうです。そして多分みんな武装を。
Goda had been able to say that Kinzo had others on his side, but he had not been able to mention that they were mostly all young women, like witches, and committed their murders using strange magic. If he had said that, it would only have caused the others to doubt his sanity. No, in fact, he himself still couldn't understand what he had seen, and was doubting his own insanity. But, regardless of sex or appearance, regardless of whether it was done with magic or a gun, the fact that those girls had followed Kinzo's orders and killed 6 people in an instant was an unshakable truth. If those people came to attack the guest house as well, what would happen? Just closing the doors and windows like this was surely meaningless. Goda, as well as Kumasawa. The only thing left for those two, who had witnessed that massacre in the dining hall, was to cradle their heads, not even knowing how to interpret what they had seen.
熊沢さん大丈夫？お茶飲む？
ありがとうございますね。ありがとうございます。申し訳ございませんが、しばらくそっとしていただけますか。
Maria tried to be nice, but it seemed that Kumasawa still wasn't able to clear away her confusion.
マリア、気を使ってくれてありがとうだぜ。熊沢さんは休ませてやってくれ。
Jessica, too, showed consideration for Kumasawa, certain of the shock she must have received after witnessing such a tragedy. But her imagination couldn't even come close to the impossible scene Kumasawa had witnessed. Nevertheless, with her mother having been killed and her father having been captured, there was no way that Jessica could stay calm either. She sealed her anxiety and sadness, using her anger towards Kinzo, and walked irritatedly around the room.
熊沢さん。
Voice.
母さんは本当に
Whoops. Okay, I was about to get a drink of water, but yeah, I misclicked. Ow.
あんなひどい死に方を私は見たことがありませんとも。
ひょっとするとまだ生きてて手当てをすれば助かるなんてことはないんだよな。
頭があんなことになって生きていられるわけがありません。 砕けちまったら手当てなんて必要ねえよな。普通。
There's no need for me to Google that one. There's no need for me to Google that one. When Goda had come flying into the guest house, overcome with agitation, he had told about the massacre in the dining hall without concealing anything, except for the part about the witches and magic, which they themselves still could not believe. In other words, they hadn't even sugarcoated the cold-blooded way in which Natsui and the others had died. It was too late now, but Kumasawa regretted having obviously said too much. However, while lightly shaking her head with a slightly painful laugh, Jessica spoke.
いや、むしろ話してくれたおかげで冷静になれたぜ。頭を砕かれちまったってところを伏せられてたら、私はひょっとすると生きてるかもしれないって言って屋敷へ向かいじいさまに出くわして、ひょっとすると殺されてたかもしれない。一末の希望が命取りになった可能性だってあるわけさ。その意味では感謝してるよ。
本当に申し訳ございません。言葉をあまりに選ばなかったことはお詫びします。
今はいいよ。母さんはもうどうしようもないけど、父さんはまだ生きてる。カノン君もシャノンもキリエおばさんも南條先生もね。
It's so weird seeing a character refer to Kyrie as anti-Kyrie. It's weird because we've been mostly been looking into Balor's point of view.
なんとか彼らを助けたいし、彼らに負担をかけないためにも余計なことをするべきではない。電話の前で待機してることが今は一番の協力になるかもしれないし。
There could be a phone call asking them to create a diversion to facilitate their escape. Or perhaps the others might learn their location and call for rescue. Jessica understood that in order to act promptly when that time came, the only thing they could do for the time being was to wait in this room. Oh. George, Butler, and Goda returned, having finished checking all the locks downstairs. Each of the three was holding a bunch of different objects. George had things like drinks, canned food, crackers, and other types of snacks that he had found in the lounge and pantry, as well as a first aid kit. All consumables that would be indispensable while they were locked down. Goda had a large folding ladder and carpentry tools. Those were so that, in case of an emergency, they could nail over the door from the inside to seal it. If it came to that, the ladder was for escaping out the window. Balor had brought up objects which could be used as weapons, such as blades and poles. That angle. The kitchen knives went without saying. The disassembled table legs could be used as clubs. And the pole, roughly the size of a person, which had been made by taking apart a hat stand, could surely be used as a spear, even though it had no point. Wait, was Balor smiling? I was focusing on the text, but I think Balor was smiling. There was good possibility that the enemies were carrying guns, so it was dubious whether these would be of any use. But it was still better than not having them, and if those things could provide at least a little peace of mind, then they could also expect some kind of calming effect from them. Then, they placed the beds and sofas from around the room against the door, barricading it. They didn't go so far as to seal it up with nails. There was still the chance that Klaus and the others would escape and come to meet up. They had apparently set up a barricade at the top of the stairs as well. It had been designed to create a racket, so it would work in place of a warning alarm as well. It was apparently Balor's idea. For that reason, they turned the TV off, so that if the first floor window were to be broken, they would know by the sound. Once the switch had been turned off, all that was left was an eerie silence. The sound of the violent wind and rain. Were they going to have to spend the whole night in such crushing suspense? The boat was meant to be coming tomorrow morning. However, judging by the weather report, the typhoon was expected to continue all day tomorrow, and the boat probably wouldn't come. The typhoon would pass in the morning of the day after tomorrow. In other words, the boat would be coming the morning of the day after tomorrow, as in the morning of October 4th, 6th. The morning of October 6th. And right now, it was late at night, October 4th. They would have to spend more than 30 hours on this island, with Kinzo turned cold-blooded murderer and his weird companions prowling about. Even with the shutters closed, there would definitely be a little bit of light seeping out. It might let the enemy know that they were hiding here. Balor suggested that it might be best to turn off the lights. But they had already taken over by such a ghastly feeling just from turning the TV off. There wasn't anyone who directly challenged his proposal, but then again, there wasn't a single other person who agreed to it.
Oh, テレビダメなの？
ああ、悪いが我慢してくれ。敵の侵入の音を聞き逃すわけにはいかない。
つまんない。
Even though she had been told that her mother had died, Maria alone somehow didn't seem to feel an approaching sense of danger. It seemed she was quite displeased with having the TV turned off. Even with this bizarre situation in front of her, she can't share her sense of danger? Because she's so young? To battle her right now, seeing that young girl act in a way that was even slightly out of place, made him feel that there was something very eerie about Maria. Oh, back to the prison. Well,
どういったものの万策尽きたわね。鉄格子はなんとかなりそう？
残念だが想像以上に堅牢だ。いつ頃に作られたものか知らんが耐用年数も文句なし。実に優良な物件だよ。
Kyrie chuckled softly. They had no moves they could make, but the mood had calmed just a little.
さながらここは取られた駒を置く駒置き場ですな。
Of course you go to chess analogy.
打つ手はもはやありませんか。
まだよ。諦めるには早いわ。思考の停止は鼓動の停止に同じよ。
だな。チェスの駒置き場に意味はないが、将棋ならば大きな意味を持つこともある。駒置き場の一枚の歩が相手にプレッシャーを与えることだってあるはずだ。
なるほど。しかしこの鉄格子はどうしようも。
私たちにはね。でもここの場所を特定し合田さんに連絡することができれば助けに来てもらうことはできるかも。
なるほど。しかし合田さんに危険を強いることになりますな。その場合、成人男性が不在になるゲストハウスのお子さんたちも不安です。
リスクを恐れるなら 事態が好転するまで塩漬けにするのも悪くない。もっとも損切りを恐れれば紙切れ同然になるかもしれんがね。我々の命がだが。
親の子犬もね。私たちで何とかするからおとなしくしていなさいって偉そうに電話して、その下の根も乾かないうちに助けを求めるなんて。実に格好悪いわね。
この後に及んではくだらんプライドなどとっくに紙切れだ。知恵を絞ろうじゃないか。ここはどこなんだ。本当に食堂の真下なのだろうか。それとも屋敷とは異なる別の場所だろうか。
Klaus, Kyrie, and Nanjo began to discuss their plans. Kanon was squatting by the bars, silently trying to sense anyone's presence, just as he had been ordered. Shen came close to him, and they both squatted down together.
気配は感じるの？
こちらに意識は向けていないけれど、比較的近くに誰かいる。
Oh shit.
それは人間？
ヤギたちだと思う。あいつらの吐息は実に賑やかだよ。
Uh-oh. Yo! Kanon's ability to sense the presence of others was several levels above that of a human. He described their breathing as noisy, but Klaus and the rest couldn't even pick up the slightest hint of it. Therefore, even if he had simply reported it, they would merely have doubted his ears.
捕まっちゃったね。
珍しいよ。殺されないで捕まるなんて。
今回はベアトリーチェ様がお越しにならないし。
Wait, what do you mean by that? Hold on, what do you mean by that? Hold on, Shanon. What do you mean by that? This time Beatrice-sama didn't make her appearance? What do you mean by that?
親方様が書斎を出られるし、何が何だかわかんないね。
Do you have memories of the previous game boards? Hold on! Hold on! What the fuck? Does Shanon have memories of other timelines? Or other game boards? What? Wait, hold on, what? Does Kanon also know about this?
わかるさ。何が起ころうと変わろうと、すべてあの魔女の気まぐれと余興。
What? Kanon and Shanon! Are they aware that this is a repeating game board or something? What the fuck? What? Hold on. From these lines alone, it gives an inference that they remember the past games. And yet, at the same time, it doesn't seem that way. For the previous two games, it didn't seem that way. But now they are making references that could possibly lead to them having maybe some memories of what happened in previous boards? Are they like loopers or somewhat? Or are they remembering the previous loops that Beatrice keeps on doing with Battler? Like, it's not a time loop technically, but it also is.
結果は何も変わらないのさ。
今回は黄金鏡に行けるかな。
Something's not right. Is anyone else experiencing the things that these two are? What? So, I don't understand. Hold on. No, okay, I'm pausing on this because, come on. These lines really indicate that they are kind of aware of the other games. Can Genji remember the other games since he's also pretty sure? And could Maria remember them too? But it also seems like from the previous 2 games that no one really made any references except for Beatrice and Balor in the Meta world, I think, of the previous boards. Huh. I'm just gonna shut up and play the rest of this chapter now, but this revelation is also kind of groundbreaking in a sense of Shanon and Kanon could possibly have had memories of previous boards. And maybe others might. Like, Genji's dead, so we don't know if he remembers anything, and, well, it kind of seems like Maria and Balor also, are not that aware of the previous boards, so, I'm just gonna keep on playing this game. This episode's really breaking me, and I don't appreciate the more mind break it's giving to me right now. But I do appreciate that it's really hurting my brain right now. I do appreciate that fact, so... to say, I'm enjoying myself, but also... I'm also not. But in a good way. I'm not enjoying myself in a good way because I'm suffering. This suffering is good. And not in a masochistic way. It's in a way of really appreciating how much this story is really messing me up right now because what the fuck is this episode?
僕たちは脱落率が高いから。
そういえば2人で第一の番を生き延びたのってずいぶん珍しいね。
Come on, stop this!
儀式が始まってるのにこうして2人でお話できるなんてなんだかすごく珍しい気がする。
そうかもね。でもそれもまた魔女の余興だろうさ。僕たちがいつもすぐに脱落するから今度は少し生き延びさせてからかってやろうくらいにしか思ってないよ。
また黄金鏡にはたどり着けないのかな。
どうせそうさ。下手な期待を持つとまたつけ込まれる。
That's a really close trip.
そうだね。前回はカノン君がつけ込まれたもんね。
僕はバカだ。
Kanon made a sour look and turned his head. Shanon laughed softly and apologetically leaned towards his shoulder.
でもお嬢様が無事でよかったね。
第一の番を逃れただけさ。それ以降の番により無残な方法で殺されるのを待たされているだけかもしれない。それを言ったら姉さんこそジョージ様が無事でよかったじゃないか。二人で黄金鏡にたどり着けるといいね。
ありがとう。同じことをカノン君とお嬢様にも。
僕は期待はしてないよ。姉さんの言う通りだ。あの魔女はご褒美をぶら下げて相手が右往左往するのを見て楽しんでるだけなんだ。どうせ誰も黄金鏡に行けやしない。僕がお嬢様と黄金鏡にたどり着きたいと願ってしまったなら、あいつはそれこそ面白がって絶対に僕たちをたどり着かせたりはしないさ。
そうだね。ベアトリーチェ様はより面白くなるように生贄の順番を考えてる。
無作為に選んでるなんて大嘘だ。あのペテン師魔女め。どうせ黄金鏡にたどり着けばあらゆる願いが叶うなんてのも嘘っぱちに決まってる。
そんなことはないよ。 黄金鏡は素晴らしいところだよ。
行ったことあるの？
ちょっぴりだけね。それすらもベアトリーチェ様の戯れだったのだろうけど。
どんなとこなの？そこ。
Is she referring to the tea party of chapter 1, episode 1? If she is, wasn't Kanon there with her?
うん。
ほう。
素晴らしいところだよ。うまく説明できない。安らかな夢の中みたいな世界。
バラが咲き乱れてて美しい蝶が舞ってるような極楽みたいな感じ。
そういう具体的なイメージのところじゃないの。本当に夢の中みたいなところなの。そこにいるときはとても穏やかで安らかで、いつまでも眠ってることを許されてる、まるで休日の早朝のお布団の中みたいな感じ。カーテンの隙間から日が差してきて、そろそろ起きないと思うんだけど、今日は休日だから起きなくてもいいんだって気づいて、もう一回お布団の中に潜り込む時みたいな、そんな気持ちになれる場所。
僕なら損したと思うな。休日なのに勘違いして起き出すなんて姉さんくらいだ。それで？
うん。そこにいた時はね、満たされててとても穏やかだった。でも元の世界に戻ってくると、つい直前までそこにいたはずなのに、うまく思い出すことができないの。ついさっきまで見ていた夢が思い出せないのによく似てる。でもとっても穏やかで静かな世界だったことだけは覚えてるの。
それだけ？なんだ、あいつが偉そうに言う黄金鏡なんて大した何でも願いが叶う場所だと思ってたのに。
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, but Kanon just flat out saying the Golden Land is not really that special just for some reason tickled me. I don't know why.
その通りだよ。何でも願いが叶う場所。少し違うかもしれない。何も願わなくてもいい場所が正解かもしれないね。
This might be a dark theory, but could the Golden Land be interpreted as a peaceful death? I don't know, for some reason the way that Shannon's describing this could be the same as seeing, you know, a peaceful death without much pain. Or I might be totally stupid right now, but for some reason I can see a similarity between the description of the Golden Land and the description of a peaceful death from, you know, what is written in fiction. Huh.
例えばカノン君が寒くて上着が欲しいと願った時、上着をもらえればとても幸せなことだけど、そもそも暖かい部屋にいられたなら上着が欲しいなんて願う必要さえもないでしょ。黄金鏡はそういうところなの。大抵の願いは願う必要さえなくなる。すべてから解放された何もかもが穏やかな世界なの。
Yeah, no, this definitely seems like some sort of weird analogy. Well, not weird analogy, but just a analogy in general of a peaceful death. This might just be me. This might just be me by the way I'm reading Shannon's lines, but the stuff that Shannon is saying can't be the same thing that could be said for a peaceful death. wouldn't the thing that Genji did to Kanon and Shanon technically be sending them to the Golden Land, and what Ronove did to Genji, wouldn't that be also classified as bringing them to the Golden Land despite it being First Twilight? Maybe that could be what Shanon is referencing. If they remember previous worlds. I don't know though. I'm trying to make something make sense in this episode, okay?
与えられて幸せという概念さえも超越した全てから解放された世界とでも言えばいいのかな。
なんだか宗教っぽい世界だな。
そしてそこでは全てが平等なの。意志ある存在は全てが平等。人間も家具も魔女もない。そこでの私は誰とも対等で公平。もう家具だからと何も自分を恥じる必要がない。全ての人間ともそして魔女とさえ対等な本当に幸せな世界だったの。うまく思い出せないけど、そこでは私ベアトリーチェ様とさえ対等な関係で良い友達でいられた気がする。
あの魔女がいるなら僕の理想郷じゃないの。で、その幸せな黄金郷に姉さんはジョージ様と一緒に行きたいわけだ。おかしな話だね。黄金郷は全てが満ち足りた理想郷なわけでしょ。ジョージ様がいなくても十分に満たされてそうだけど。
黄金郷はね、とても穏やかで安らかで全てが対等で公平だけれど、幸せだけ実は抜けてるの。
幸せな世界じゃないの？
もちろん安らかで穏やかで公平というだけですごい幸せな世界だよ。でもそれは例えるなら全ての悩みというマイナスから解放されたゼロの世界なの。
Yeah, definitely this does feel like the Golden Land is like some sort of allegory to death.
人の世はマイナスで満ちてるから、もちろんゼロというのはものすごい幸福なわけだけど、それでもゼロなの。贅沢だよね。それはこういう感じ。穏やかな休日の朝のまどろみの時、最愛の人も隣にいてくれて手を握っててくれたなら、もっともっと素敵な幸せになれるみたいな。ごめん、姉さんは例えが下手くそだね。バカだから。
No, I think you're catching on to something with your analogy. Something involving the psychological side of what may be going on in Umineko.
つまり姉さんにとっての最高の幸せとは、ジョージ様と一緒にその世界にたどり着くことってわけだ。
そしてきっとカノン君にとってはお嬢様と一緒にその世界にたどり着くことだよ。
公平な世界で二人は悩みから解放され、なんだかおかしな宗教を吹き込まれてるみたいだ。僕はもっとこう俗物的な、魔法の薬を与えられると人間に生まれ変われるとか、そういう感じの世界を想像してたよ。
行けばわかるよ。ベアトリーチェ様が本当に気まぐれな方なら、いつかきっとカノン君にも垣間見させてくれるに違いない。そうすれば姉さんの例えがよくわかるようになるから。
まあ、過剰な期待はしないことにしとくよ。いずれにせよ、今回の僕たちはこれでゲームオーバーみたいだし、別の機会に期待するさ。
そうだね。おかしな期待を持つとベアトリーチェ様にまたつけ込まれる。何も考えずただ運命に身を任せるのが私たちには一番かもしれない。
僕たちはただチェスの駒であればいいんだ。何を考えても考えなくてもどうせ魔女のチェス盤からは逃れられない。後のお役目はどういびり殺されるかただ待つことだけさ。そんな僕らに黄金鏡の夢なんて虚しすぎる。
そうだね。ごめん。
Ken shrugged his shoulders, then told Shanon to leave him alone because she was interfering with his duty, distancing himself from her. Realizing her thoughtlessness in bringing up such an inappropriate topic and instead hurting Kanon, Shanon bit her lower lip and stared at the ground. She wouldn't bother him anymore. She went off and squatted in a corner by herself. Oh. At that moment, Ken twitched. It was like the ears of a cat when it reacts to a faint sound.
どうしたの？
旦那様、誰か来ます。
The Witch of the Painting.
何？
They ended their conversation and strained their ears. For a while, they couldn't hear anything. But before long, they were able to hear the sounds of a large group of people walking.
おいでなすったわね。
年貢の納め時か、さもなくも最初で最後のチャンスか。
私が金蔵さんと話しましょう。なんとかここの場所を聞き出してみます。
期待してるわ。
During the last phone call, Kyrie had asked what the time over at the guest house was. It had been the same as her watch, and by this she had learned that their watches hadn't been set back. It wasn't just the clocks. I almost said claws. It wasn't just the clocks on the walls in the guest house. Several people's watches, including George and Goda's, had matched. If that was the case, then after the massacre in the dining hall, they had been transported to the dungeon in only a few minutes. Not enough time had passed for them to be knocked out and carried away. Then, were those really pitfalls? Meaning that this was the area directly under the dining hall? All they could do was pray that Nanjo could find out where this was.
来ます。多分人数は4人。親方様、並びに食堂に姿を現したうちの3人かと。
もう十分だ。君も後ろに下がりたまえ。あとは私たちで応対する。
シャノンちゃん、申し訳ないけど電話のところに座ってもらえる？スカートで電話を隠して。
あ、はい。
Okay. I like that. I like that little transition of just Shanon moving in front of the phone. That was funny. Okay, I love it when the sprites in a visual novel move on their own. Just do like little animations. I love that. Kind of like how Nanjo fell down during the part where they were going through the pitfalls. Like, I enjoyed that. And when Cheister 410 jumped away from the door because of the pitfall that appeared for Kanon and Shanon. I love just seeing sprites move. I like seeing sprites move, especially in games. I don't know why, but I really love seeing the sprites move because I find amusement in them. I just find amusement in their movements. And it's just, the charm of visual novels. Like, it's not a fully animated, action, but at the same time, you can get the impression of a fully animated, reaction, despite how the sprite barely changes. I love moving sprites. I really enjoy them. The presence came closer, and there was the sound of a heavy door being opened at the other end of the corridor. The light they were apparently carrying illuminated the dimly lit corridor, stroking the walls with razor-sharp shadows. And then, the light from the lantern they had lit up the prisoners through the bars. They lit up the prison. Oh my god! What the fuck? I'm gonna restart. Wow, I did not read correctly for that entire 3 lines. I'm gonna reread that. I'm so sorry. The presence came closer. There was the sound of a heavy door being opened at the other end of the corridor. The light they were apparently carrying illuminated the dimly lit corridor, stroking the walls with razor-sharp shadows. And then, the light from the lantern they held up lit up the prisoners through the bars. The bars' sharp shadows divided them lengthwise. There were 4 figures there. It was Kinzo, Rove, Fergilia, and Gap.
後ろ宮家当主ゴールドスミス教のおなりでございます。皆様ご静粛に。
ゴールドスミス？
親父殿のペンネームだ。怪しげな魔導書を書くとき、そういう名を署名しているようだ。
金像を英語風に？それならゴールドウェアハウスが正しいんじゃないの
？Hi. The candles dance.
ウェアハウスは倉庫、ただ溜め込むに過ぎぬ。しかし私は金を生み出し、細工し、さらに価値を高めるのだ。スミスの方がよりふさわしいと思わんかね。
確かに。無駄口を失礼しました。
金蔵さん、これはどういうことなんだね。ここは一体どこなんだ。
おや、我が友よ、思い出せんかね。さすがにその牢の中に入った経験はないだろうが、この廊下を歩いた記憶はあるはずだ。
まさか。
心当たりがあるの？
いや、しかし考えられない。第一、私たちは落とし穴に落ち、しかもほんの数分でここに閉じ込められたのですと。そんなことは物理的に距離的にありえない。
Huh. Is this the Kuadorian? This might be the Kuadorian. I forgot Cap's outfit. Something so unforgettable that somehow I forgot it. Something that's so unforgettable, I forgot it somehow.
お父さん、ここは屋敷ですか？屋敷にこんな地下があったとは。
フランス、お前たちがその存在をささやき、何度か私の後をつけ回して探ろうともしたではないか。それがここだよ。いや、正確にはそこの地下と言うべきか。
They're in the Kuadorian.
まさかここはクアドリアンの地下ですか？
ご検察の通りです。こちらはクアドリアンの地下でございます。クアドリアン？まさか 噂も親父殿の隠し屋敷なのか。
Indeed, Crossarino.
本当に実在したのか。
我が最愛の魔女ベアトリーチェのためだけに築いた屋敷である。地上部分は美しき上品な屋敷なのであるが、そこを案内できず実に残念に思うぞ。
こんな牢屋があるお屋敷で二人きりなんて素敵ね。どうもお父様とは性癖が合わないみたいよ。
キリエさん、無礼な発言はお控えになった方が賢明ですよ。
でも同感よ。私も送られた屋敷にこんな地下牢があったら100年の恋も冷めて金目のものだけいただいてとんずらするわ。
おや、そういうご趣味はございませんか。てっきりキュンキュンしちゃうとばかり。
もちろんキュンキュンしちゃうわよ。誕生日のプレゼントに首輪なんかもらっちゃったりしたらね。ただしイケメンに限る。
Then Gap, you don't know what a stud looks like. Like, come on, Gap. Come on, look at Kinzo. He's not a stud. You're saying that Kinzo's not a fucking stud. I'm gonna stop this joke. Actually, no. I'm gonna stop this joke. Forget I said anything.
お静かに。首輪より猿靴輪が必要ですか。
あら、あなたはそっちもいけちゃうの？リアって好き嫌いないのね。
勝手に人の名前を略さないで。
やかましいぞ女たち。お前たちも同じ牢に閉じ込められたいというのか。
これは失礼いたしました、親方様。この牢体にこのような寒い牢獄では身が持ちませぬ。
Virgilia quickly apologized, but Gap merely laughed together with Renove. It was like she was saying that she wouldn't be captured. Or else, that even if she were to be captured, it would be meaningless.
牢とは捕らえ逃がさぬこと。それはすなわち生涯手放さぬとの強い意志と愛である。逃げても諦められる程度の女ならば愛を語るに値しない。鎖で縛ってでも逃がしたくないと思うほどに苦しくなる女。そこまでに至ってこそ我が生涯を捧げるに値する愛である。お前にそれを分かれとは言わぬよ。
It would be kind of concerning if someone could understand.
私は誰にも縛れない、縛られない。愛されたいんじゃないの、愛したいの。私もゴールドスミスと同じよ。だからよくわかるわ、あなたの愛の狂気。
愛と狂気は紙一重というわけかね。実に旗迷惑な話だ。
しかしあっさり所在地が分かったのは大きいわ。詳しい経緯は後で聞くけど、南條先生はここをご存知なのね。
はい。そこの廊下がクアドリアンの地下通路ならば、あの先をまっすぐ行けば長い地下道になり、それをずっと歩けば屋敷に戻れるはずだ。
There's an underground passage, a long tunnel, return to the mansion. Okay. Okay. Huh. So that's how Kinzo was able to disappear from class. He went into the secret tunnel underground. Oh my god, how much money does Kinzo have? How much money did Kinzo have to build this an island? How much money did he have? An underground tunnel? He must have blown off a lot of the gold he got. Just the cost alone for an underground tunnel had to be a lot of money. Jeez.
この鉄格子さえなんとかできれば屋敷に帰れるってことね。
お父さん、私たちをどうするつもりですか？
すでに宣告した通り、お前たちは後の番のための生贄である。都合よく人数も5人。えぐりて殺す5人の人質にぴったりであろう。
なるほど。私たちも年貢の納め時というわけですか。
やがてはな。だが今はそのために訪れたのではない。安心せよ。それに言ったはずだ。もしも孫たちの誰かが我が全てを継承するにふさわしいと認められたなら、この儀式は中断する。つまりお前たちは命拾いをするというわけだ。
お子さんたちに何をするつもりですか？
次期当主にふさわしいかどうかテストを与える。その結果、私をうならせる者が一人でもいたならば儀式は中断する。
ふさわしい者がいなかったら子供たちはどうするつもりですか？
それを心配する必要はない。どうせ先に生贄とされるのはお前たちだ。その後のことなど知ったことではなかろうに。お前たちは自らの命運を自らの子供たちに委ねるのだ。お前たちが産み教え育ててきた結晶が子供たちだ。お前たちの命運を委ねるに実にふさわしい存在のはず。そう心配そうな顔をするなよ、クラウス。お前の自慢の100億の価値のある娘を信じろよ。
まったくね。子供は親の結晶よ。親の命運を預けるにふさわしいわ。お父様にとってもね。
肝の据わった女だ。ルドルフにはもったいない。
キリエさん、あまり挑発しない方がいい。
同感だ。今は耐えよ
う。そうね。どうせ私たちはまな板の上の恋よ。今さら何もできやしない。
私に対し威勢のいい口を叩くことはできるがな。嫌いではないぞ、そういう女は。ベアトリーチェも初めはそういう女だった。
親方様、そろそろ本題を。さっきから脱線しまくりです。
おお、そうであったな。すまぬすまぬ我が友よ。それでは本題に入ろう。 そのために電話を用意しておいたのだ。シャノン、知恵が回るな。もう隠さなくてもよいぞ。
So the phone was on purpose.
それは私が用意させたのだ。
失礼いたしました。
Shanon quickly withdrew, and the telephone was revealed.
クラウスよ。ゲストハウスの孫たちに電話をかけるがよい。そして我がテストを、試練の始まりを彼らに告げるのだ。
With a gesture that seemed to be saying go ahead, Ronove urged Klaus to pick up the receiver.
嫌だと言ったら。
ほほう、取引の余地がどこにあるというのか。お前が電話をせぬというなら、孫たちにはチャンスさえも与えぬ。後ろ宮家はこれにて終わり。お前たちは直ちに生贄だ。
直ちに生贄なら幸運よ。あなたたちの眼前で子供たちを先に生贄にされた方が辛いと思うけれど。
生贄の順番は親方様が決めます。勝手なことを言わないように。
リア、今私の名前を縮めようとして。
Oh wait! I didn't even notice. I didn't notice that Virgilio was doing that.
してません。だから勝手に人の名前を略さないように。
女は実に
かしましいですな。
Okay, it kind of looks like those two are in prison from the way that the chapter ended. My mission. Oh, we're back to 1998 with Angie. Alright. Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. So, 12 years later, Angie's visiting Nanjo's clinic. Huh.
Okay.